Get rolling. Okay, this is a special meeting for the Griggs County Commission on October 7th, 2024. This is on the budget. Everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Avriel.
Here.
Eli.
Here.
Edlin.
Here.
Hang on a second, she's trying to get hold of Rod here. Tramby's here, of course.
Hello?
Hi, Rod. We have the budget hearing. Do you want to be a part of that?
Sure, give me one. Let me call you right back, Sam.
Okay.
I got to finish this. I'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Oh, wait. Yep.
Yep, thank you.
Okay.
Yep, bye.
We hot closet, so no problem.
Where's the pizza tray?
That was last time, remember? Things like
You guys can just continue on if you want. I think he'll call.
Okay.
And you can just.
So I need a approval of the agenda. Only thing on the agenda, of course, is the approval of the 2024 budget. 2025, sorry, dear.
You're good. You're good.
Okay, that's the only thing on the budget is that. So, on that, do we have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
I'll approve the agenda with the adjustment of the 2023 being changed to 2024.
Okay.
I have October 7th.
Oh, you have the date on the top wrong. Okay, never mind. Okay. Everybody's got a motion for approve the agenda. Do we have a second out there, guys?
Stephanie second.
Of the agenda, okay. All right, all in favor of approving the agenda, say aye. All opposed?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Anyway, do we have to wait for Rod? Rod's not coming back. You can call back. Do we have to listen to? It was somebody here. Yeah. Are you here for a reason, ma'am, or what's you going to talk, or what's?
Yeah, I'd like to.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead. What's your name and state your purpose, please?
Pass that around, please.
Is this Rose
Yes.
Christensen?
What?
You're Rose Christensen, correct?
Right.
Yes, I thought so.
Scott Trendy.
You got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing I've given you, by the way, I am Rose Christensen, and Scott and I have known each other for a long time, but it's been many, many years since we've met. I lived in Cooperstown or in Griggs County for 38 years, farmed with my husband south of town, and after he died, I moved down to Barnes County where I had lived before I moved up here. My land, I own a half section of land in Broadview Township, and but I'm not allowed to pay, I'm not allowed to vote in any of the Griggs County elections, so you get my money, and it's kind of taxation without representation.
Okay.
I sit down there in Barnes County and worry about how much of my money you're gonna spend. I wanna show you this little plat map from the county atlas and show you there are 2 ditches involved here. The KD, the Karnak drain, started back in about 1992 after a major rainfall. Everybody was worried about it. There was a lot of water standing everywhere, and so they went to work and they came up with this Karnak drain idea. And some of the neighbors went ahead and started digging that, and there was a lawsuit, and the lawsuit decided that the rest of us who finally got involved in that ditch would have to share the cost of those early attempts at ditching. That ditch was a total failure. Got down there to approximately Richard Kerber's line in the middle, and it just kind of petered out. It never went well. They continued digging, but it didn't drain well, and so it's been a kind of a disaster. In my own situation, I marked our land in yellow. We are the west half of Section 8 in Broadview Township. You'll notice that the Karnak drain comes down from the northwest and skirts, it's on the west side of the road from me. And it continues south before it turns and goes east toward the river. The only thing that we were affected by was the taxes and the water. We got an awful lot of water because they promised they would shut off a culvert under the road, and they did not. It pooled in land that belonged to Haugens, and it gushed through that culvert onto us. And so all we've ever gotten is water and land damage. I had 14 to 18 acres in the southwest corner of this that did nothing but get saturated. When it finally did dry up after a number of years so that it could be farmed again, it was all saline. You can drive by it today and you can see the difference. And it was a result of the extra water that was dumped on us. But I got taxed and assessed for being part of the Karnak drain.
Mm-hmm.
The only part I was taking their excess water. Well, anyway, that didn't work, so it's very curious that the neighbors, we went to court with these neighbors to the west of us here against the people who had started draining and wanted us to cover their expenses. They resisted, the Eldon Haugen's boys resisted that attempt to saddle us with that debt. So we were partners in that lawsuit. But later on, those same people bought land on the east side of me, which had been a cow pasture. A lot of sloughs, a lot of rocks that had never been broken up. And now the word is, it's only gossip, that they're planning to tile it and level it and so on. So they wanted a drainage ditch so they could get rid of that water so that they could improve the land, which brings me back to the idea that I presented. I put this together. I'll read it to you, although I'm sure you're capable of reading it by yourself. But it's very telling to me. My husband was a World War II veteran. He had enlisted in the Army at the beginning of the war. He trained and served as a radio operator and was shipped to the South Pacific, where he served for 2.5 years. At that time, soldiers were issued monthly allotments of beer and cigarettes. My husband, Dale Christensen, sold his share to other GIs and sent the proceeds home for his parents to save for him so he could buy land if and when he got home. He did survive the war. He came home, he bought 2 quarters of undeveloped prairie land, which he spent the rest of his life, nearly 60 years, improving. This was the west half of Section 8 in Broadview Township. It was definitely not choice land. The north quarter had several potholes. The south quarter had a very large area of wet and rocky land that yielded an occasional crop of hay. Through the southwest corner of this quarter, I've just discussed that with you a minute ago, a culvert under the road carried water from the west onto the land and through a depression which flattened out at the south end and spread laterally across that quarter, back and forth sideways, and through a fence line onto the neighbor's land to the south, where it simply ended in a slough. There was no exit into this Karnak drain or anywhere else, so all the water that came under that culvert just began to spread out across the land and continue south. What's very interesting is that this neighbor to the south was offered a consideration by whoever, I don't know, the county commission. He was exempted from tax on that land because he accepted the water. So I don't know if that's still in standing or not. In ages gone by, this ancient depression and adjoining slough had been part of a natural waterway, and this is a very big issue here with this whole matter of draining. This natural waterway had carried seasonal rainfall from the northwest on a weekly defined course to the Cheyenne River to the east. The natural waterway ceased to exist when the so-called Karnak drain created a legal drain to the northwest because it bulldozed and deepened what had been at one time a spring runoff waterway, and it gathered water along the route from a number of otherwise contained sloughs and potholes, adding to the amount of water that was coming down that way. By the time this water had been accumulated and redirected to the channel that they constructed along the west side of the road on section 7, go back to the map and note that there's a road that goes to the west of my land there, all the way down to Karnak. And I'm on the east side of the road, and the ditch was on the west side of the road. I've got the engineer's report or design which describes this ditch being on the west side of the road, but I have been billed for it, and I've been billed for maintenance since 1992 until the present day on a ditch that does nothing but drain water on me. It could no longer be considered a natural waterway after all that engineering and digging and so on. It was and is acknowledged to be a man-made drainage ditch that is not on my land, does not drain any water off of my property, and I've been assessed for this fiasco for 30 years. The Karnak drain emptied a number of sloughs in the area north of the east-west Hannaford-Laverne Road, and I've tried to show where it starts up there. It was on Bert Johnson's land, if anybody remembers that, on section 7. The Karnak drain funneled this increased amount of water from the north underneath the east-west Hannaford-Laverne Road, ran it diagonally across a couple sections on the west side of the north-south road to Karnak. That was across Orville Culvick's land, down onto Eldrin Haugen's land. It's on the west side of the road. We were promised verbally that the culvert, which had formerly carried the occasional rain runoff under the road onto us, would be closed after the construction of the KD drain, but that culvert has never been closed off. We had opposed the KD drain from the day of the very first meeting of supporters, but we were outvoted. And that's another interesting story. The people that decided that assessed the acres. Now, I don't know if you're that familiar with the way the water law works, but it's not people or owners or tenants that get to vote. It's acres that get to vote. Assessors look at your land and they say, oh gosh, we've got this many acres are going to be benefited by this project, so we'll count up those acres. So if you are one of the ones who wants this ditch, it's pretty easy to give yourself 51% of the vote, and you can outvote all the opponents, just because you can add an acre or two to yours or to subtract an acre or two from somebody else. And that's exactly what happened. The ditch was constructed. Contrary to that verbal promise, the culvert was never closed, and our land has, as a result, been negatively impacted as a consequence of the whole operation, because we have never had any relief from that drain, but rather we've had a calamitous increase in the amount of water. I submitted photos of water gushing through that culvert under my land to the water board, the state water board. At the time, they considered granting some $600,000 for construction of another Rube Goldberg drain that they wanted to run from west to east across the north end of my north quarter, the so-called TBO4 drain, Thompson Bridge drain. So then there was another round of public meetings. They were not able to find any easements that anybody along that road had ever granted for the road. So they were not able to go onto our land and say, you've already signed an easement. They tried to get a new round of easements and people were not willing. I stood my ground and I refused to grant them an easement, so they dug their ditch on the north side of the Hannaford-Laverne Road. Now notice again, I'm on the south side of that road. The ditch is on the north side of the road. The slough that they intended to drain, which is on the north side of that road, had been discharging water onto my land through a north-south culvert. But the engineer who designed the TBO4 drain realized how pointless it was and how unjust it was to drain water onto me from the north and then drain it off of me to the east and say that I was in their ditch and I needed to help pay for it. He saw the injustice of that, so he closed, in his design, he eliminated that culvert from the north. Didn't run any more water onto me. And it's interesting, there may still be a culvert under my neighbor's driveway, but his land, which is exactly east of me, does not drain into the TBO4 drain. It just drains into his field. And I thought my battle with the drainage ditch problem was all over when the engineer decided to redesign his design. And then I got my tax bill. And I got another one this year, and I don't know, I'm still trying to recover. I've paid my taxes under, with an objection every year to keep it alive.
Correct.
But now they've got my taxes up to, believe it or not, I've got 2 quarters of land. It's got about 270 acres of productive land.
Okay.
Okay, so in 2023, my property tax was, this is for 2024, $2,474.45. That was the tax on the 2 quarters of land. But the special assessment was $4,621. That's the combined 2 ditches. Total, $7,096 for 275 acres of land. This is absolutely outrageous. I haven't been able to get any relief. No matter what I do, they say, well, hire a lawyer. I'm all done hiring lawyers. They don't help you, they just charge you. What I'm objecting to is the cost of all of this. I want to get out from under this, and I don't know who else to ask. I've been to the county commission before, and they just shrug their shoulders and throw up their hands. Who is it that decides that I should pay $7,096 for 275 acres of land? I'll bet you those are the most highly taxed or assessed acres in Griggs County.
You're probably correct.
So what do we do here?
Yeah, this is almost a water board issue, is it not?
You know,
Rose?
well,
I know you love the water board. I know.
I knew the water board so well, they finally all quit.
Yeah, I don't know what.
So, I really need somebody to step up to this and say this is unjust, it is unfair, it is abusive, it is theft.
It's a lot of money. I agree. It's a lot of money.
So,
What do you do when you're in that type of position with your land? Or
Well, it's that assessment that gets what is getting you. You don't have a lot of issue with the actual.
I would be
$2,400.
I wouldn't be happy.
Yeah,
But no one's happy to pay property tax.
Well,
I
no,
would pay
but-
my property tax.
Correct.
Okay.
The $4,000 assessment is what's
Right.
killing you right now.
Great.
Correct.
This is a weird thing. My
I know.
husband came home from the war. He went to work on that land. He bulldozed. He made rock piles in the sloughs. And you can imagine, you've all been there, you've all done it. You know how you regain 1 acre at a time. And the county says that there are 9 acres of slough-like property at the north end of our land.
Land.
In other words, if this ditch goes through, if it went through and included me and carried any water off, I had a maximum potential benefit of 9 acres.
Yeah, I know where you're at, Rose.
Yeah.
I've seen
So-
the land. I know where.
So now how can we solve this problem? I have got to get out from under this. This is going to take that land that my husband worked so hard to make into a working farm. He never took government subsidies.
Who rents the land from you now, Rose?
Who's what?
Who rents the land from you now?
Mark Hogan.
Or Mark does. Okay. I don't know what to tell you, Rose. I just don't. This is.
Well,
that's the thing. I don't
know
know much about this, and I'm not denying you or arguing you because I know Mark is my father-in-law. So
That's right. I forgot about that.
yeah. So I understand where you're coming from, and I see it on both sides. So that's the thing. It's like, okay, well, what can we do? I don't have an answer for you, but I tell you what, we can try and figure something out. If we got to meet with the water board, if we got to do something.
Well, yeah, I agree.
Is there something that we as a commission can meet with the water board and say, something ain't right here, we got to fix it?
Well, let me just ask.
Yeah.
Who came up with this figure? That's
I
what
don't
I'm
know.
trying to figure out.
I don't know.
We
Nobody
don't know.
knows who assigned this figure.
Well, and that's the thing, this is, a lot of us, this is probably done way before our time, so that makes it even worse.
Yeah. Well, and then the backstory of it, my dad had some work on this years ago. You know that, Rose.
Sorry, Scott.
My dad did a little work on this the original Karnak drain. You know that.
Oh, I'd forgotten that.
Yeah, my dad was part of it in a long time ago. Yes.
Okay, I didn't realize he was anywhere near the Carter.
Oh yeah, he did some work on it years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, he did. So I know the story behind it from my dad. So on that one, all I can tell you, Rose, I'm gonna, you know me, I'll do some digging into this. Can we do that for you? You know, you know me.
Yes,
so,
I do.
Yeah, so I'll do some digging. I know your son, of course, too. So
Yeah.
my folks.
We all know each other. That's
my-
the beauty of local government.
Yeah.
We do know each other. We
My-
know who's scamming whom.
In full disclosure, I'm a classmate of her son, Frank Christensen.
Okay.
So I'll tell you a friend. We'll have to table this right now, and
Yeah.
I'll get back. Don't worry, I won't forget about this. You know me better than that.
Okay, well, I'd like to
I just can't.
have someone confirm that I have a just case here, that I am not in either ditch, and yet I'm getting socked for $4,000 to help pay for it. I will never get that paid off in my lifetime.
I don't know what to tell you, Rose. I guess I don't. It's beyond my legal thing. That
Well,
sound like.
if you guys can find out who came up with the $4,000 figure.
Let's do some checking. Can we do
Yeah.
that for you, Rose, please?
At least, we'll look into it. We'll do what
Yeah.
we can for you.
Okay.
We're not gonna. We can't give you an answer. The only answer we can give you, we'll look into it.
Yeah.
So that's the only answer, because legally in all this, I have no
And you
No,
guys,
experience or authority or anything
Yeah.
on what to say.
I tried to get Jamie back on.
you wouldn't come in.
He has a message. Open my
Okay.
message.
But yeah, don't worry, Rose. I will figure. You know me. I will get back to you.
Well,
You know
I
that.
will wait to hear from you. When
You know- you know
have
that.
good news for me. I would like to be totally exempted from this ditch. And that hurts me to say that, because I have other neighbors that were imposed on who fought this, and that was unfair to them. And I wanna just back up one of the points I made in the paper, but I didn't say, was that the people that wanted that ditch, we really did put up a fight, and they said, we're gonna go to the state, we're gonna get granted, we're gonna get a grant, as though money that comes from the state doesn't come out of our pocket.
Correct.
All government money comes out of our pocket.
That's correct.
Out of our sweat,
Yeah.
okay? So, they said, if we can't get that $600,000 grant, we're gonna drop it. And I went to that meeting in Bismarck, and there were 3 Democrats and 4 Republicans, and the Republican governor and the Republican
Goering.
Commissioner of Agriculture.
Goering.
All 4 of the Republicans voted with us to say, no, we're not gonna give the grant because these people don't want it. All 3 of the Democrats and the Republican governor and the Republican ag commissioner voted 5-4 to grant the money. And I don't know for sure, but I'll bet anything that a lot more than $600,000 of state money went into this. I think that thing ballooned beyond all belief. I have no idea what the final cost was, but it was huge.
Yeah. No. Okay. Well, we'll just Sorry. Yeah. Me and Josh will look into this. Okay.
All right.
I think you know us better than that. We'll look into it. That's all I can say.
All right.
Okay.
I'll look for a letter that says, you were right, you're out of it, okay?
Okay, Rose.
I gotta say one more thing.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, I understand there's something like $485 million in a special reserve fund at the State Water Board. And I am going to call and I'm going to ask them to cover the rest of the cost, at least for the people who did not want to be in this drain.
Okay.
I'm gonna pursue that avenue,
Okay.
but I wanted to start with you.
Well, thank you for your time, Rose. We do
Well, thank you
appreciate
for
it.
your time.
Yeah, on that one. So, okay. So, We need to put,
You want me to sign in here?
yes,
Yes.
please, you do that, please. So we need to, is a vote on the 2025 budget, correct?
Correct.
So anyway, so I need a motion to approve it.
I'll make the motion to approve the 20.
So Josh makes the motion to approve it.
Do I need to put a number behind it?
2025.
Just say it's 25.
Okay.
25. I just
Yeah.
want to make sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we got it. Do we have a second out there, guys?
I'll second.
Steph Edlin seconds it. Okay. Do we have to do a voice vote in this, Sam?
Yes,
Yeah, we
please.
do, we do.
Yes, please.
Yeah, do. So anyway, so do a voice vote on the, to approve the, first of all, any discussion? Any discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you,
yeah,
Rose.
No problem.
Thank you. Ugh. Any discussion? I'm rattled. Okay. Well, the voice vote, Avriel,
Aye.
Eli,
Aye.
Edlin,
Aye.
Zorn,
Aye.
Trimmy votes aye. Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, that's it? I mean, need a motion to adjourn. Yeah, so I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Josh makes a motion to adjourn. Do we have a s-
I'll do the Tranby.
You did the Shramby? Yeah, good deal. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Zorn seconds. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Next meeting.
Next meeting is, was it Sam?
19th, you said?
Monday, October 21st at 9:30 a.m. in this chambers.
Wonderful.